If you're not willing to let go, you're never going to be able to get. What's going on? It's your man C100 here, aka Chris Desir, back with another video today. And today's going to be how to get what you want. I'm pretty sure I've made this video title like a billion times, but more and more I go back to it and I really think about it, the more and more clear the answer really gets, right? Things in life are not separate. That's the first thing you gotta understand. You gotta stop separating your work life, your home life. You gotta stop separating those things. All of those things are incorporated in some way, shape, or form. You do not necessarily need to involve your work into your home or involve things going on outside of your home into your home, but you must realize there is one common factor within all of these things, and the common factor is you. You are the same person at your job. You are the same person at home. You are the same person when you just go out for a stroll or a walk on the town. It's all you. And even though you may have a different attitude, different mindset, different way you talk, depending on if you're with friends, family, or whatever, the more and more that you try to distinguish yourself as a different person when you're playing whatever role you may play, the more disconnected you're gonna actually be from reality and how to actually handle it. For example, you can talk to your friends and use slang and be more aggressive, right? But make sure the message gets across the same. If you know for a fact you do not eat grapes, right? And you're talking with your friends and they're like, hey yo man, you trying to try this? And you could be like, nah, I don't eat that. I don't eat grapes, I don't like it. Or you're talking to your parents and they're like, hey son, you want some grapes? You could be like, no sir, I do not eat grapes. When you decide to act like that, you start blurring the lines between what is possible and what isn't, right? You start blurring the lines. And when you blur the line enough, it just becomes one straight line and you could just see everything that you need to see. And now to come back to what I was saying, when it comes to letting go, you may have a goal in mind and you may be doing 10 different things. You may have 10 different roles, right? You may have one goal in your head, but you're playing 10 different roles. You may be wanting to reach a new, how do I want to say it? Reach a new height when it comes to your work environment. You're trying to upgrade in the business scene, right? You're trying to elevate your music. You're trying to increase your marketing business, right? Anything really. You need to be able to realize that when your goals are clashing with the roles that you play, either you have to switch the roles or you need to change your goal. So if you're a cutthroat business person, but you also gotta play the role of a father, you gotta play the role of an uncle, you gotta play the role as a community watch person. Most people don't even do these things nowadays, but for the very few who do, right? You have to realize, are these extra things that I am doing now cutting into whatever the goal that I am? Or can I now somehow incorporate all of these things that I am doing back into my goal? You don't necessarily have to cut things out of your life. You don't necessarily need to cut things. You only have 24 hours in a day. And there's only so much you can do in those 24 hours. Having 9 things that you do on a regular basis that you're comfortable with, and then deciding to cut out one and just try to fill in the gap with the one of the 8 other things that you know would, if I said not yet, one of the 8 other things that you do isn't necessarily going to work. And I'll tell you why. Unless you have a newfound passion in whatever that you're doing, unless you have the fundamental like blueprint laid out, okay, this is how I can go from exactly point A, which is where I am now, to point B in whatever I want to do. Unless you have that, cutting out 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or even one thing out of your life isn't going to make the situation better. It'll actually make things worse, because you're already used to doing that certain thing that you were doing, and now that you're cutting it out, it's not going to work anymore. You can't just cut something out. You're going to feel like there's a hole, there's a gap, there's extra time that you don't need. You're going to feel bored. You don't cut things out. That's not how you do it. You replace them. If you're only awake for 10 hours out of the day, you're sleeping for 8, and then you're 10, 8, 18, 19, 21, 22, 24, and then you're in the bathroom or just messing around for the extra 6 hours in the day, right? While you're awake and active for those 10 hours, if you have 5 things and it takes you 2 hours a pop to do, if you cut out one of those 5 things and you're like, oh, I'm just going to cut out one of these 5 things so I can just necessarily have more time to do the other 4, or necessarily have an extra 2 hours to do one of the extra 4, even better. That's fine and all, but again, if you don't have a complete and utter plan laid out that you can work towards from A to B, that now increases the time you need to do one of those 4 things from 2 hours to 4 hours, you're not gonna just randomly wake up one day and find the motivation to do those things. Just not gonna happen. Those extra 2 hours that you have, you're either going to relapse and go back doing what you were doing, or you're just gonna end up losing motivation in all the other things that you do. Everything that you do is connected to you. If you feel like there's a problem with something that you are doing, and then you just decide to cut it out instead of replacing that thing, that's again everything that you do, rather good or bad, defines you. That is who you are. That what makes and defines you. If you decide to just remove something out of your life, it's like you're taking a part of your own soul. You're just trying to get rid of it, and then you start to feel incomplete. You start to feel on hold. You start to question things. Your motivation drive starts to lower. Do not just replace things. No, I said that wrong. Do not just get rid of things. You want to replace things. You want to replace it with something new, better, more exciting, or add more focus and more time into something you're already doing more specifically, with a plan, step-by-step actions in place already to get them done. And once you start doing this, to go back to what I was saying, and why all of this matters, right? For letting go. Even if you have an overarching goal for your life, right? And you're doing 9, 10 other things, and you realize, oh, this one thing I want to do is bad, so let me drop it, okay? And let's say you do what I just told you, and you even replace it with something better, okay? You're still going to start to realize something. You're going to start to realize that maybe this goal of mine isn't necessarily what I want. And why do I say that? It's actually very difficult for me to explain, but I gotta get it out. I gotta get it out there. You, right? You changed. You changed. When you start taking away these boxes, when you start taking away these different views, different aspects of reality, and just realize it's all just me doing different things that I want to do, and they're all incorporated, your mindset starts to change. You instead of becoming a chameleon, basically shifting and changing depending on the environment that you're going, you're not becoming a chameleon. Now you're just learning how to express yourself the exact same way in multiple different locations. And will people like you for that? No. Will people understand you for that? No. Will people even try to question you and test you for doing that? Yes. Every day. Every day. But you gotta do it. Because when you do that, your mindset starts to change, which means you start to change. And when you start to change, you start to reflect on things that you want in life. And you reflect on what you need to do. It doesn't matter what your goal is, but if you are stuck, you cannot figure out what is going on, you are not realizing why things are not working out for you, it's probably because in one of the other areas of your life that you're in, you're doing terrible. As in, this is what I learned, right, from one of my mentors, Trey Cockrum. Shout out to him. If you have a bad home environment, you're gonna have a bad work environment. If you're having problems at home, your wife's cheating on you, you're cheating on your wife, and she didn't deserve it when you did it. Car problems, your kids are sick, anything that's been going on at home that's stressing you out. If you're going from a stressed out home environment into a work environment, some people think just changing your environment necessarily will make you better or make you forget about what's going on. You didn't solve the problem. That's what you need to understand. The mental anguish, the stress, the emotional roller coaster you went through when you're going through home, even though you're not 100% showing it when you're at work, when you're at the club, when you're at the bar, when you're at school, it's still there. That mental pain, whatever, it's still there. And when you have that pain, it causes you to function less efficiently. You're actually functioning a lot less efficiently when you go to other places, right? And a problem that you probably could have solved within 5 minutes, being at 100% capacity with little to no problems going on in your life, now that little problem is starting to escalate. Now that little problem goes from some dude screaming at you that it goes from a person in your workspace did not get their job done, from you going from a calm, level-headed standpoint of asking questions, why didn't they get them done, Maybe I can help them. You know what? I'm gonna let it slide this time. It's just fine. Now you're gonna be a little bit more anxious. Now you're gonna be a little bit more assertive, aggressive. Now you're gonna turn a little molehill into a mountain, and things start to domino effect in life. I say the things that I say because I know what I'm talking about. The more and more and more and more that you try to escape, run away, separate the things in your life, the worse life is going to push all of those things together and entrap you, making everything worse. Like a simple, that's just to say, like a simple way to just fix or save your business, made it just be to go home and just just set up a therapy session or a counseling session with your wife. It may not have nothing to do with the people at your job at all. It may have nothing to do with people messing up the order at all. It's just you. You need to change. And even when you try your best and you got everything under wraps, these bugs are attacking me right now. I have no idea what's going on. They like the energy. When you have these things under wraps, the world will still throw you a curveball. When you think you got everything figured out, the world will still just throw you a haymaker, a left hook, a quick jab to your face, sucker punch you when you're not looking. And that sucker punch is to let you know it's not done yet. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. You're not finished. As in, for a matter of fact, you may need to do something completely different than what you're doing. Because most of the time when you figure out the problems in your life and you start to deal with them, you start to realize that the entire life you were living and striving for in the first place may have been incorrect, may have been built on false notions. And when you go from seeing things individually, home, job, work, school, to me at home, me at job, me at work, me at school, when you add that layer of me, I am always me, regardless of where I am, who I'm talking to, what authority they may show, anything like that, right? You start to think about the big picture. And then you start to realize, what does the world have in store for me? And how do I deal with it? And I'm gonna let you know right now, you can only deal with the world. You can never conquer the world. You can never have complete dominance or control over it. You make a deal, an exchange with the world. You don't always have to submit to the world. It's not about submitting. It's about knowing how to deal with it. You ask the world for what you want, it's gonna give it to you. But you gotta deal with it, because it's never gonna turn out exactly the way that you want. So stop separating things in your life and start looking at everything from a perspective of you're the one doing it and you're the one getting to it. When you finally do that, then realize, what do you really, really want? Question what you're doing and question what the world wants for you. And when you finally have that figure out how to deal with the world so you can get some version of what you want in the end. It's been Chris Desir, 100 Agency. Catch you guys next time.